Well, good morning and thank you for joining us on the Friday edition of the ICU TV Breakfast Show. This is quite an interesting edition as we're going to be talking about a number of issues, especially getting into the world of news. Also, see how we can be able to keep fit, look at what foods are healthy for us, look at what's trending and and all. But we'll get your day fully packed and bring to you all the content that we have prepared for you. But I'm your host this morning, Maluba, Mwanamuchende.
Well, thank you so much. And I am your co-host, Meshach in Njakwa, Edgars. And it is Friday. We are preparing you to just start your day the right way. One of the important foods in a human being's life is their breakfast. So what better way to start a day with us right here on ICU TV? A lot is yet to be unpacked, and stay tuned for more. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, 13th of March 2026, and this is the Friday edition of the ICU TV's Breakfast Show. It is quite special because I'm on set with someone that we work with, just behind the scenes, but finally we're here.
Come on. Well, of course, quite an interesting one. I've never shared a set. I've never been on set with you, and it's quite interesting. I'm actually looking forward to see how this is going to end out.
Exactly. So we are here to unravel a lot of things that we are packing up for you. And what is on your mind this morning?
What's on my mind?
Mm-hmm.
I personally just want this month to end already.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like it's already been a long one. Today's the
13th, yeah.
Yeah, but it feels like already, like we're still on the first day of the month. Please let it let it go. And what's on your mind?
Well, money is on my mind. Money drives the economy. Money drives lives, drives everything. And I think it goes back to time immemorial. Money is the reason why Christ was sold.
Of course. if you don't love money, then I just don't know. Of course, people will say money is a root to all evil, though.
I think it's a coin that has a head and a tail. Depends on the perspective. But I think money is the root of all happiness. Freedom.
I think I'm gonna go for that one. I'm going to support
exactly. Remember, you can also be part of this conversation by getting interactive in the comment section on ICU TV News, on the Information and Communications University, as well as ICU TV. What is on your mind? Today is Friday, and the other thing that I forgot to mention is wine is on my mind.
Oh well, being a Friday, getting to the weekend, so there's a part where you just get to relax. After the long week, all the work that you've been doing, just get to relax your mind. Sit down, sipping on a glass of wine, and please, when we say a glass of wine, please remember that it's on two sides. Eh?
Exactly.
We do not know which one we're talking about, whether the
fill in the blank spaces.
But of course. Alright, without wasting much time, let's jump on to the first story that we have under the headline pick this morning. And our first headline that we're going to be looking at is President Hichilema urges youth to arise, sow and lead Zambia's future. Please give us the other headlines that we're going to be having this morning.
All right, apart from that, Energy Minister calls for urgent transmission investment to end load shedding.
Of course, and we also have the government to recruit a second group of youth for ZNS training. Quite an interesting one.
We also have Zambia eyes higher maize exports to regional markets, as well as more.
And we also see that Zambia raises concerns over tobacco control bill.
All right, quite an impactful script we are having right here. We also have what is coming through from the health and nutrition, as well as the social media trends.
And now, since we have read out the headlines that we have this morning, those are some of the top, some of the headlines that are making. Those are some of the stories that are making headlines this morning, and we've just brought out to you. And just in case you want to say something about these headlines that we've brought out, please do drop them in the comment section, and we'll be able to attend to those comments and just read them out at a later stage through the show. And now, getting down to our first story this morning, that is. It reads, President Hakainde Hichilema has encouraged young people to strive for success, stressing that the youth are not a problem but valuable assets to Zambia. And he made the remarks during the 2026 Youth Day celebrations in Solwezi, while calling on young Zambians to embrace purpose, discipline, and ambition. While the president also urged youth to acquire skills through education, remain innovative, and work hard to contribute to national development. And of course, we get to see that he also highlighted the government's free education policy and encouraged young people to invest in their futures, while also championing peace, unity, and national cohesion in their communities. And on top of that, well, he also, the president also paid tribute to the young people who contributed to Zambia's liberation and called on today's generation to honor their sacrifices by working hard and positively impacting the country. And this is something that he said in this under this year's theme, which is Arise and Soar, and encourages young youth rather to rise above challenges and aim higher, while promising that government will create opportunities and employment to empower young Zambians. Quite an interesting one. Well, we see the president of the Republic of Zambia, encouraging young people not to just sit and wait for opportunities to come. You get to make the opportunities for yourself.
Exactly. One thing that stands out every time His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is speaking, there is always that one word that stands out for me. But I think I should be able to come up with a novel just to break those down. One thing that has remained with me, even as I was following the Youth Day processions, he said young people are not problems, rather they are assets.
That's a very powerful point.
Exactly. Every time we're looking at the social media trends, we know about to pin this, but to pin that. But at the end of the day, which side of the coin are you looking at? So it's all about perspectives and what you choose to see. And remember, when we go the Christian route, there is power in the tongue. So every time when you're demolishing, painting us black as young people, or only but respond to that. I think it's high time we took the president's path.
Well, but on this same story, we are told we have a report, something that has been put down. Maybe let's just quickly take a look at this report.
So we call upon you to retain your confidence and indeed discipline, and always act with a sense of purpose. That's how you succeed. We want you to continue innovating, to lead, not to be leaders of tomorrow, because you are already leaders of today. Munokumbwa barongo bame. The youth of Zambia, you are leaders of today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. It's today that you are leaders. And I can see why you are leaders of today, as you see or do great things in our country. And let us continue to build this country together. After all, you are the majority of this country's population. The youth, you are the majority. So therefore, you have a bigger stake in the estate called Zambia, in the asset called Zambia. Your stake is bigger than every other population profile by sheer numbers, and I think you deserve that. Let's rise above adversity. Let's acquire skills through education.
Well, that is His Excellency Mr. Haile Hichilema giving us some powerful nuggets on how to look at youths and how best us as young people can position ourselves correctly in order to attract those opportunities. Remember, one of the cries that we've heard so far from young people is representation and having a seat in parliament, and that is slowly getting to fruition. But then the big question that we're asking ourselves and other people are asking us is, do we have the capacity?
Exactly. Yeah, at a certain point, I remember there's this person in power that came out to say youths are only trying to get these opportunities because of the money that is involved. But then we also see the youths also reiterate. I mean, we're going against that and saying no, it's not the money. It's about the will. We want to do this. We want to I don't know. They said we want young minds to be the ones to push the agenda. But I don't know. To some extent, I feel like the older people were a little bit they felt bad about it because they felt like they're no longer they cannot they're not in capacity because of them being old and old. And I feel personally, I feel it's also it is okay for young people because I mean to get into these seats. Times are changing, so you find that young people to some extent are more exposed, I should say. Not to say our elderly people, of course, they have been here for the longest of time, and they do of course have the knowledge. But in certain things, we should understand that. For me to understand for me to lead in Chivole, I have to understand Chivole. I'm using Chivole, please, just for I need to understand in order for me to lead a particular place. But if I'm going to be seated in my home, I do not have any social interaction with the system that I'm trying to lead on or lead at. How am I going to be able to bring out that innovativeness and all?
Exactly. I like the statement of innovativeness, and one thing that we need to put in mind is that an apple does not fall far from the tree. So in as much as our parents, our elders and our guardians might feel some type of way because we're hungry for power and we're hungry for leadership simply because we want something different, it is still due to them. They've come before us and they've shown the way, and it's only right that we pat them on the shoulders as well to say Mwanamuchende, because they've produced leaders.
And it's not like once these young people are in power, then we get to push out the elderly people. No, it's something where they will still be there to help guide the young people in the case that they see it's not going according to how they feel it should. Of course, it's still sit down with the young people and put them in the right line that they feel.
Exactly.
Things should happen.
Because what an old man can see while sitting down, a younger person cannot see it even when they are on top of the mountain. And we continue with our stories right now. The Minister of Energy, Makozo Chikote, has said that Southern Africa's struggle with load shedding cannot end without without massive regional electricity transmission networks. Now, he made these remarks during the 66th Management Committee meeting of the Southern African Power Pool held at Mulungushi International Conference Center. Nothing that gaps generation and transmission continue to undermine power reliability across the region. Now, the minister highlighted the urgency of diversifying energy mix after recent droughts exposed the region's heavy dependence on hydropower, while the SAP competitive market has doubled the electricity volumes to nearly 2,000 gigawatts. This financial year, some 800 gigawatts maintain or remain undelivered due to transmission bottlenecks. Now, Mr. Chikote pointed to the Zambia-Tanzania interconnector as a key project to link between Southern and Eastern African power pools, as he stressed that strong cross-border transmission and infrastructure is essential not only to end load shedding, but to also secure a climate-resilient energy future for the region. Quite insightful.
Quite something. And looking at the issues of load shedding that we've been having and all, it's quite interesting to see that there are measures that are being taken to curb this thing, as it is something that has quite affected a number of people the economy at large as well, because without power, I feel a number of things come to a standstill.
Definitely. And one of the things that has stood out is the last statement: climate resilient, and also the relationships between Zambia and other countries. It is not, I think, a one country's type of a show. It is everybody's show when African countries come together to just see to it that they build something strong that can be, reliable, because it's not just about the now, but the future generations to come.
The problem is sometimes when we look at these collaborations and partnerships, you find that some people take them in a different way. Say in a case that I'm not trying to support anything or go against anything, but I'm just trying to say we get to look at things in a weird or different perspective, I should say, because we find that if we have a collaboration, say for example Namibia or Zimbabwe, some people have a problem and think maybe there's just some certain kind of agendas that are happening, not knowing that it's something that's actually there to bring progress and all.
Exactly. It's about a shift in mindset. We need to think of collaborations as, let me just give a layman's perspective of a type of an example. A table cannot stand on one support. It needs a much stable base, even if it has one is it one leg?
Of course we call it that.
Yeah, so we always need one another in order to see to it that we thrive. And one thing that we need to pay attention to is climate sustainability. We do not have to solve a problem by creating another problem in the long run.
Indeed. Yeah. Oh, quite an interesting story right there. And now getting on to our next story, and that is the Zambia National Service will welcome a new intake of youths into its voluntary national service program after the first group graduates in April 2026. And the program, run by the Ministry of Defense, is part of the presidential directive to equip young Zambians with skills and discipline. Well, the story continues to read. The initial cohort, which began training in September 2025, includes 1,138 youths who are undergoing instruction at ZNS Chiwoko Training School, Zambia, and ZNS Kitwe Training School, Zambia. Well, and ZNS Chishimba Training School training centers. Well, those are the centers where the trainings are currently happening. And Permanent Secretary Mambo Hamaundu said the training will help youths develop skills, work ethic, and discipline, preparing them to create jobs or pursue careers in the defense and security sectors. Quite an interesting one, because most people have been complaining and saying, no, it's a little bit difficult to get into the system and the service and all. But now we're seeing this initiative where we have a voluntary kind of training, which will, at the end of the day, it's not like you're doing it for free. No, you get a little something, but at the end of the day, you have a better opportunity to find yourself in the system, which is quite interesting. I feel that's a good step in creating jobs and all.
Exactly. I love how much of a broad foundation it is, not just for that particular training, but also future opportunities to come. It is speaking into the fact that we need to be diverse, even as we undertake certain paths as young people.
Indeed, and when we look at the training, this is something that's here to help young people gain skills. So it's a thing where you even afterwards, like you have put it, it's not like you'll be stuck to just you working, and you will be able to learn something that may be able to push you further from that particular field that you are doing, which is quite an interesting one, because we see many young people in areas like we were speaking earlier, young people that would just want to sit and wait for certain things to happen. But this is a training that's going to help them have discipline and learn that there's more to eat than they probably have put it.
Exactly, and the creation of jobs. Job creation is not just a government job. It's not just the government's duty. It's everybody's duty. If you are able to be an entrepreneur and you create a job for somebody, why not?
I don't know why we always want to sit down and wait for the government and always complain, saying, no, the government this, the government that, they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not creating jobs. That shouldn't be the case.
I mean, Well, we'll continue with the stories this morning, and in case you've got a question, addition or subtraction, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Remember, we are keeping you informed and inspired. The Grain Traders Association of Zambia says it has plans to increase the maize and mealie meal exports during the upcoming agricultural marketing season. Key markets include Zimbabwe for maize and the Democratic Republic of Congo for mealie meal. The chairperson Nkandu Mwene said the expected higher maize supply from the next harvest will boost Zambia's competitiveness in regional markets. Mr. Mwene also revealed that more than 10,000 metric tons of maize have already been exported to the Democratic Republic of Congo, underlining the country's growing presence in the region. Underlining the country's growing presence in the region. Speaking from a marketing perspective. This is powerful.
It is actually very powerful. The only problem, I was laughing at the moment you just reached the part where you say that maize, 10,000 metric tons of maize have already been exported. The moment people get exported, it's going to be something. I do not know what we're going to call that, but please, it's not cool.
Indeed, it's not cool. Speaking of that, I found certain people, I think if they're watching, they know because they're probably I found certain people that were saying, I don't like the situation where the government also tends to export things at our expense. Okay, and I was like, okay.
I'm trying to hold back my language. This is TV. If I say something, most people will get me wrong. So
exactly.
allow me to hold on certain things. Why are you just going too quickly, right? You just for the fact that you heard something is going on, already you want to feel it's pushing you back. Or you feel like you're going to lack in something because a little something has been pushed out. Why?
Because we need money at the end of the day, even the government, for them to just move and fund certain things. Have you ever thought of, maybe you have thought of it, but you watching me right now, have you ever thought of where that same Panadol you get every time you go to the clinic, where does it come from?
I don't know if you think everything is already. Wow. Okay, well, quite an interesting story. Just like we had already mentioned, please let's get interactive. If you have something that you'd like to communicate through the stories that we have already brought out, please do drop them in the comment section, and we'll be able to bring them out later or through the show. And now, without wasting much time, let's just jump into the next story that we have this morning, and that's the Zambia Association of Manufacturers has raised serious concerns over the proposed tobacco control bill, warning that while it supports legislation regulating tobacco consumption, while the bill's intrusion into commercial operations poses significant risks to businesses, farmers, and the broader economy. While key shortcomings identified include the absence of a regulatory impact assessment, restrictions on dialogue between industry and government, and provisions that would impose heavy costs on small retailers and SMEs. While the association further warned that requirements such as frequent packaging changes and restrictions on products display would drive up operational costs and encourage illicit trade, ultimately strengthening smuggling networks rather than protecting public health. Well, we also see that ZAM also noted that earlier drafts of the bill had signaled to farmers that they should abandon tobacco cultivation, a move that could devastate agricultural livelihoods and undermine Zambia's export earnings. And ZAM also urged the government to draw a clear distinction between health regulation and commercial oversight, recommending that matters relating to industry, farming and trade remain under the Ministries of Finance, Commerce and Agriculture. Well, the association will further stress that tobacco remains a legal product and a significant contributor to tax revenue, and exports and other over-regulation of legitimate businesses risks causing irreversible economic harm. And this particular story, we have a report. Let's just quickly look at it, and we will get to speak on it. right after this. Well, unfortunately, we were not able, due to the technical glitch, we're not able to play that particular clip or report right now. But if we are able to have it ready, we will get it off to the screens. And for now, well, this is quite an interesting story and all at the same time, because it's funny how, of course, the regulation of tobacco. Some people always have funny comments, especially when it comes to social media.
Exactly.
I do not know why most people want to take it on the illicit side more.
Well, there is a country, the moment you read tobacco, there's a country that came to my mind, but I think due to peace and justice, I'm going to withhold the name.
Please.
There is always social media controversy and comparisons between Zambia and that particular country.
I do not know why when we say tobacco, please, tobacco is not all of a harmful substance and all, and it is quite. It's actually like the fact that they're regulating it, because some people have tended now to take advantage of it and overuse it. It has become now a cause of bad vices, especially in young people, because I do not know why sometimes they just always want to take advantage of something and turn it into something that is not bringing any good.
Exactly. And as I said in our previous stories, having to create a problem in the long run while trying to solve another problem. As young people, we tend to go through a lot as we grow up, certain stages of life. We are all living on earth for the very first time, and we're all figuring it out together. So let's not abuse certain things, and I'm glad that the government has just stepped in, and this is a powerful move to see to it that this deal is regulated. And I think it is coming with lots of sensitization. We need more information to reach young people on what happens, what is it exactly that we can benefit in the long run as a nation. Because remember, one of the things that our former Republican president, Dr. Michael Chilofyasata, used to say rather was, Zambia has already been created. So the best we can do is to, keep what we're already having now and sustain it nicely, because there is always the next person coming after you. So with regards to tobacco and probably many other things, let's just exercise caution and be realistic.
Indeed, you are still watching the ICU TV Breakfast Show, the Friday edition this morning, and at this particular time we're going to short break and we'll be right back as we bring to you more of the content that we have prepared for you.
The Information and Communications University is complementing government effort in promoting legal and safe mining for all Zambians. ICU is offering a short practical training course to artisanal and small-scale miners and those who intend to venture into mining. This training covers identification of rocks and minerals, mining operations and equipment, health and safety in mining, environmental protection, licensing and compliance. Qualifications: National Registration Card NRC. Apply now at www.icuzambia.net. For more information, contact the ICU School of Mines, Department of Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining at +260 763 302 596 or +260 973 263 492. For analysis of mineral samples, contact the ICU School of Mines Laboratory at +260 973 263 492 or +260 977 833 434. The Information and Communications University is complementing government effort in promoting legal and safe mining for all Zambians. ICU is offering a short practical training course to artisanal and small-scale miners and those who intend to venture into mining. This training covers identification of rocks and minerals, mining operations and equipment, health and safety in mining, environmental protection, licensing and compliance. Qualifications: National Registration Card (NRC). Apply now at www.icuzambia.net. For more information, contact the ICU School of Mines, Department of Artisanal and Small Scale Mining at +260 763 302 596 or +260 973 263 492. For analysis of mineral samples, contact the ICU School of Mines Laboratory at +260 973 263 492 or +260 977 833 434.
Alright, welcome back. Like we had already said, you're watching the ICU TV Breakfast Show this morning, the Friday edition, and now we are getting down to look at some of the stories that are making trends on the sports side. It's quite an interesting. Mr. Edgars, what do we have this morning?
We have Manchester City lost 3-0 to Real Madrid at the Bernabeu with Federico Valverde scoring at 3 goals in the first half. Now Chelsea also struggled, falling 5-2 to Paris Saint-Germain, and the team now faces a tough task in their home match if they hope to stay in the competition. The results put pressure on both English clubs as they prepare for their return games. Okay, that was quite it.
Manchester City,
was
quite an interesting game, but sadly, I'm a football fan, but not a football fan. But I'd say I've got a team that I support, and that's Man City, and I could have cried on this particular one, because where you could see, especially if, I'll speak mostly on the Manchester City side, especially because of the fact that that's the team that at least I tried to look at and say, if somebody asks me, do you watch soccer, and I'll say, okay, I have Man City because I know Haaland there.
I can understand you.
But it was quite a sad game, looking at the fact that it was a big game. Real Madrid is not a small team at all, and having been beaten though 3-0, that was something. I literally thought at least if we were to lose, at least the one was going to
at least losing is something, right? But I think it's high time you became like me. I always support the winning team.
I'm honestly going to jump to that side now, because
so congratulations to us, the mighty Real Madrid, and we're making turns and turns and turns and turns. So see me at every winning side.
We hope to have you on Man City at a certain point.
Just win. You have me that side.
And also the Chelsea game, wow, losing 5-2. So it's almost the same thing. They also lost 3 goals down.
I think this was a good try.
Paris Saint-Germain, though, these guys are quite good as well. Because I remember last time they beat Barcelona, like I don't know, and then it was quite that was Real Madrid rather they beat. It was quite an interesting game, and I don't know if can you play soccer, by the way, first of all?
Yes, I can only kick. I can't play. I can only kick the ball.
I used to be this guy that would play soccer. Like I don't even know where those legs went to. I used to put the whole team, like the time we were young. I'll be alone, and I'll put like five of the younger ones, and the team, but I could still come out with like 10 goals alone.
Good Lord,
single-handedly, beating them like I don't so. But now I do not know where that energy has gone to, because
I think we need that energy in Manchester City. We need to bring that energy. I think in case they are watching, we've got a person for you that can bring you 10 goals.
Okay.
All right. So we still have a lot to unpack, and when we come back, we talk all things nutrition and health. Stay tuned.
For the sky, and I see you. Together we will rise. With knowledge and passion, we aim to achieve a future so bright, with more to believe. We're building
as a best graduating student, masters in the School of Humanities.
to the world, we stand tall and strong.
Hi, I'm Genea Moyo, and I am ICU.
We're rising high with education.
You're still watching the ICU TV's Breakfast Show Friday edition, the 13th day of March 2026. It's been a good one, so far so good, and right about now, what is an ICU TV breakfast show without health and nutrition? A health country is a wealth country, right?
And of course, and well, in our health and nutrition today, we're looking particularly on cholera awareness. And well, there's certain. I've been seeing a number of cases that have been rising. I just recently saw about 8 cases that were discovered, and the good part, at least, we're seeing not as much as it was last time. The number of deaths, it's not as bad, but we still need to. It's best to avoid than wait until we have, a full outbreak or a very heavy outbreak rather, in order to start taking measures that are going to keep us safe and healthy.
Yeah, I think this pandemic is no stranger to us, and we all know our Babalanda to really wish it up potential. So please, let's all jump onto, or maybe let's join the team in seeing to it that cholera is brought to an end. Imagine every time the government is spending money on preventive measures, better still curing. Prevention is better than cure. So
It's more expensive
exactly
to cure than to prevent.
So I think you can take us through some of the things that we need to do in order to see to it that it is brought to a reduction or better still an end.
And well, it's quite important to follow these safety measures in whatever we do. We all want to stay healthy, or we would love to see you stay healthy, so you can be able to sit down and watch us like you are doing right now. And some of the measures that we will look at this morning is you have to wash, that is washing and sanitizing of hands. That's the first one. And secondly, we need to keep food warm and covered. We also need proper preparation of food, and also very important, we need to seek medical attention upon slight stomach issues. Well, keeping food warm and covered, I do not know why sometimes we're a little bit careless, and this is true, because you find that you know that the place that you're putting the food at is not well spaced, and we do not know where these flies and all will sit at, and the moment you just leave your food anyhow, well, once they sit there, this is where we get to see somebody having a little running stomach first, and afterwards you get to hear they're being admitted for cholera. Just as simple as that, and I do not think it's supposed to be a cool thing.
Yeah, indeed, it's not a good thing. And one thing that I need to make mention of is the stigma that is associated with the stomach issues. Sometimes it might not really be cholera, but for the fact that someone feels a certain way, they shun from medical facilities because they don't want to be isolated.
Indeed, especially and there's certain homes where you have a child eating and you just leave them there having their food. You do not, but there's no attention on them. That's why sometimes you see, because a child will not have that mindset or mentality of, say, chasing flies away or doing all that. Why it's very important to also make sure to follow all those safety rules, and also washing hands and sanitizing, especially after using the bathroom. Sometimes even just on a normal time. I do not think you always have to wash your hands and sanitize yourself when you're from the bathroom, because obviously during the day you're moving up and down, you're meeting different people, you sometimes have handshakes, you're going to have fist bumps, and just like that, germs are being transferred. And so it's very important to keep yourself sanitized, and also washing your hands regularly at every point if possible. Every time you have a stop, if you can, please do make sure to wash your hands.
Yeah, I think it also just feeding into the lifestyle. Let's just employ the lifestyle of safety, washing of hands, not just as he has said, not just after using the bathroom, but also when you knock off from work. You move up and about, you're touching different surfaces, staircases, handles and whatnot, door handles. You do not know where the previous person came from and what they touched. So please just see to it that you keep yourself sanitized and washed. and also just make sure that maybe before bedtime, just take that shower. It's always necessary. Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, that's it on our health side. Now we jump right over to the fitness minute, and being fit is not all about jumping,
weightlifting,
punishing yourself,
yeah,
doing all that. Keeping fit, even me just taking a walk is enough.
Especially drivers. Drivers are culprits.
Just simply taking a walk.
Let your vehicle rest. Let your vehicle rest and just take that walk, as he's saying. And sometimes it is the small things that we underestimate that really matter, because they feed into the long run. It's about the small things that build up the bigger things. So if you are taking 2 steps today, tomorrow you take 2 steps, the following day you feel like taking 3 steps, and that should be progress in the right direction.
You did. And also just eating healthy, it also will help you keep fit. I mean, having a very careful, I should say, diet will also help you stay healthy and keep your body running normally. Because look at a person that's just going to be having meat in the morning, meat in the afternoon, meat in the evening, meat in the morning, meat each and every day. You get to see that you will not have that. I mean, this is what we get to see now. People are having these different diseases such as diabetes and all, and it's not cool to have that, because it might be too late by the time you're realizing that you have this particular disease. And that is why it's very important to always have healthy foods. Be careful with what you take and all.
Exactly. And the World Health Organization, WHO, define or describe health as a state of being in a mental, social, emotionally, and coming down to physically. So make sure, even as we talk all things health, how are you mentally? How are you spiritually? How are you feeling? Do you need somebody to talk to? Please, let's not underestimate the power of having a confidant in case you are battling certain things. You do not know how best to navigate around or through your life. There is always someone. It's not all about, having a financial problem and having someone to give you maybe $1 billion, but just, that act of emotional support. You do not know the baggage or the burden that is lifted off your shoulders. So please, if it means talking to us here, please reach out. We are here to keep you informed and inspired in so many ways.
Indeed. While we are getting to the end of the conversation, we're getting closer, I should say. But at this particular moment, let's just jump we go back a little bit and just jump to what we just had. Of course, we were commemorating the Women's Day earlier, and now we see that we had Youth Day, and it was being commemorated in almost all parts of the country. And we saw young people celebrating, and of course, like we had mentioned earlier, there was a story where we looked at the president being in Solwezi, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, where he got to talk to the young people and encourage them, all sorts of things. Well, making reference to the just ended youth Indaba, what do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel it's something that's going to help youths in terms of mindset shifting and all?
Speaking of a mindset shift, and in reference to the just ended youth Indaba, the permanent secretary, Mr. Kangwachileshe, made mention of a statement that has stayed with me even up to now. He said certain things are not taught, certain things are caught. It's high time as young people we start, it's high time we started just catching certain things. Do you need an internship in a particular organization? Please catch it by positioning yourself rightly. It's about how you package yourself as a product for sale, because you are selling yourself as a product and as a service. What are you bringing to the table, and how are you positioning that seat on that table? So it's really important, even as we arise and soar. Let's arise above the laziness. Let's arise above all these things that we've just adapted into as the new normal. I think it's becoming boring.
True, and it's quite interesting to see how young people are getting to have this enthusiasm and a will to lead and be leaders. For example, we have Chrisedi, Mwila, and we also have Mlaza Kaira,
Yes.
famously known as
Market
Market
Two.
2. Of course, we knew him on the music side and all, but now we get to see him jumping onto wanting to be a member of parliament, and that's quite interesting.
Really interesting. And one thing that we also need to know is the cake is big enough for everybody. We have the likes of Maggie too. We also have the likes of Olivia Tutu that are, making, becoming trailblazers in various disciplines. So identify a gap as a young person. Do you want to be in media? Identify it and position yourself rightly. We've seen what these young people are doing, how they are rising and soaring above it all. Because
one thing I've gotten to learn, especially from Market 2, is he's used his skill and talent to build another.
Exactly.
From the music, you've gotten the numbers, you've gotten people, you've got the attention, and then now you just get to shift and then just have this mindset to enter. That's quite. I should give him an applaud for
Well
that,
deserved.
because the fact that he's it's an advantage to him, I should say, because all those numbers that he had in the music space will also of course want to support, and the fact that even through his music career he was able to show people his good side, his goodness, and show them the leadership qualities. Of course, he gets to see him visiting certain places, donating stuff, and I think so. It's not just the music that he was doing; you could already see him taking up that side or that mentality of being a leader, even while on this space where most people don't never do that. You'll find most musicians. I'm not being negative, that's why I'm not mentioning any names to any, but it's just a general comment. You find most musicians just stick to the music. All they want is the fame. They want to sing, but you never see them take back to society or do all that thing, even after the support that they've been given. So it's quite interesting to see young people using their side, their talent, their skill to also take interest in national matters.
And I think building up on what you've articulated about Mr. Honorable Mlaza Kaira, better still Makitu, he's been, even during his musical journey, he's been one to lift others.
Indeed.
We've had a lot of trailblazers in the entertainment industry that have been introduced to us by him, the likes of Yo Maps, the likes of Chef Towela, to mention but a few. So this is also speaking into the fact that as young people, let's lift others while we rise. I think this is what we find in the book written by Madam Mizinga Melu, As You Rise. Please make sure it tends to be boring at the top when you're just alone. And in order for us to fight poverty, to fight whatever it is that we need to fight as a nation, we need to do it collectively. So let's see to it that we are our brother's keeper. If you learn a certain word, please pass it on to the next person, because you're also doing yourself a great favor by becoming good at that.
Quite interesting. All right, so this is about where we go on another break, even as we get to the next segment that we have. Like we said, we're getting closer to the close, but we go on another break and we'll be right back, where we get to look at some of the social media trends. So what are the stories that are making trends on social media? So we're going to short break and we'll be right back as we get to look at one of these stories. Stay put.
Thank you so much for still staying glued to ICU TV's Friday edition of the Breakfast Show. Remember, we come to you every Monday, Wednesday, as well as a Friday, and we've unpacked quite a number of things. But now we are on your favorite segment, and that is what is trending on social media. Despite it being your favorite, we are here to give you the information, the much needed information that you are able to bump into on the streets of social media. And I'm sure you can tell from my tone, it's quite sad.
Mm, quite sad indeed. Most of the times when we have social media trends, it's issues about celebrities. Somebody did something, find somebody. These nudes were circulating and all, but at this particular moment, it's so sad to read that a social media trend or something that's making turns on social media is actually quite a sad story in this high reading. And this is a heartbreaking story of Imibongo Tamelo, a grade 3 learner from Tata in the Eastern Cape. Well, she tragically took her own life after enduring ongoing abuse and bullying from her classmates. And what reports say, the kids would constantly mock her mother's situation and laugh at her for coming from what they called an ugly home. And while they also made fun of her for never bringing a lunchbox to school and targeted her poverty in general. And while she kept complaining about the teasing, but it never stopped. And in the end, the pain became too much and she ended her life. Oof. That's a grade 3 learner that we are talking about. Because if we look at the grade 3, that's somebody very little.
Yeah, literally young, and that's a baby. But then, how do parents of nowadays raise their kids? Because this is contrary to how we were brought up. The situations of having to bully someone at that age.
They're able to. I mean, how do you feel about mocking a person's situation? Not cool, especially for a young person, for a little person like this. This is something that will get to their mind even more than you would think, because nobody would be happy talking about their own situation, mocking them about it. And it's so sad that a young child like this also was exposed to the point that they know about committing suicide.
Exactly.
Oh,
what a sad generation.
It's very sad, because most of us never really knew about this committing suicide, doing all when we're too young. I think only getting to grow a little bit older, say, oh, okay, somebody has committed suicide, or this is how they did it, and I do not know if it's the exposure that is happening. People watching too many things nowadays, and they're seeing too many things, especially the young ones, and so it's an issue where they feel that is the only solution. I feel, to some extent, we should have more content that helps young people, desist from doing such, or opting to have such as a resolution, because it's so quite sad to see a family losing such a young soul, and in the manner that this child has lost their life. I don't think that is something that would sit well even with the family back home, especially knowing the fact that it was because of other children back at school. I do not think even the family would have any good thing for the institution, and also the young people, the other young kids that were involved in this particular this particular issue.
I think one of the things that you've mentioned, and I think it has stuck with me, the content that we put out there, and being in an industry where I'm also responsible for the content that I put out there. Is it child friendly? What are we doing? I think for the most part, life is a collective journey. What's the content we're putting out there? Do we have trained people that are curating content that are child friendly? But then, as parents as well, how are we raising our kids? Are we raising a kid that is going to make another kid commit suicide, or are we creating that hostile environment for kids not to speak to us anymore? Please, let's desist from such, and may the soul of this girl rests in peace. And still on another sad story, we have the story of Mitch Mulenga. Probably you will see his picture just reflecting on your screen right now. He's a student that went missing on the 27th of January. It was a Tuesday. He had gone to deposit his school fees, but since then he's been missing, and we've seen his pictures, circulating on social media. We saw the family coming in to say, no, there's a reward. Tell us where this boy is. And sadly, allegedly, he was found beheaded.
Zambia, my country. And this is not the first time we're seeing a person going missing, and the next thing you hear is they're no more. I do not know, how can people be so ruthless? As a human being, you're able to take another life, and you will be able to move around with as a normal person.
Freely, for that matter.
How
are you okay?
That is quite sad. And I actually came across this particular story also, but I was hoping, this also other side where young people sometimes go deposit school fees and tend to maybe be mischievous and do other things, and not knowing the person, you actually maybe think it could be the same case, and you see people commenting and making fun jokes about all these things, saying, oh no, that's how students are, he's probably just somewhere and he's going to be coming back. And it's quite devastating to the family knowing that they were reading those comments even at that particular time, and it's going to be worse now for the fact that this has happened. And now this is when people want to be remorseful after hearing. I feel, let's be kind to each other, and whatever we do, please, people, you are a human being, and you are going to walk freely with a free heart after doing this kind of thing.
There's a comment with me from Natasha Joshua saying, the wickedness in this world keeps increasing each day, Mwerantu. I can't imagine the pain his family is feeling right now after hoping each day since his disappearance that he'll be found, only to receive the news of his passing without proper goodbye. How may they such a thing? May the soul of this gentleman, 24-year-old gentleman, rest in peace. And please, let's create a safe environment for everybody to live freely. And as parents and guardians tend to send us to these tertiary institutions, I always say it's an investment on their part. They're spending so much. They're spending their time, their money, their emotions, just the upbringing, with hope that it will amount to something worth societal pleasure, with societal duties and responsibilities. But then, him being a third-year student, I believe he was doing a degree program, maybe a 4-year-old program that was just a 1 year to completion, and then someone's life is just cut short like that.
People can be ruthless, and people can be ruthless. And whatever amount he had that he was allegedly beheaded for, I do not even know where it's going to take it, because you can't tell me, say probably something not more than 20,000, I guess, and you do that, something that's going to have you just you feel good for just temporarily, and it's done. Are you going to go back and do the same thing to the next person as well?
Well, on a sad note, we will be going on a short break, and when we come back to wrap up the show.
The Information and Communications University is complementing government effort in promoting legal and safe mining for all Zambians. ICU is offering a short practical training course to artisanal and small-scale miners and those who intend to venture into mining. This training covers identification of rocks and minerals, mining operations and equipment, health and safety in mining, environmental protection, licensing and compliance. Qualifications: National Registration Card NRC. Apply now at www.icuzambia.net. For more information, contact the ICU School of Mines, Department of Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining at +260 763 302 596 or +260 973 263 492. For analysis of mineral samples, contact the ICU School of Mines Laboratory at +260 973 263 492 or +260 977 833 434.
This has been the ICU TV's Friday edition of the Breakfast Show, and we come to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Remember, ICU TV is here to keep you informed and inspired on the information side. We have our news, our daily news that come at 12 hours. That's for the lunchtime bulletin, as well as the main news bulletin at 20 hours. We also have the breakfast show, like you are seeing us right now on your screens. We also have Heartbeat coming to you every Thursday at 16 hours. And we have a Sports Smart coming to you today, Friday, at 16:30. We are having a lot of content, and in due time we'll be dropping it one by one. I am Meshach Njakwa Edgars, and on the transmission box we have Madam Njakwa.
Well, and I am Maluba. Mwanamuchende. I've been your host this morning on the ICU TV Breakfast Show. It's been quite an interesting one, like I had said. Well, my first seating on set with this gentleman right here, and it's been quite an interesting conversation that we've had here, and we hope you also were following us and was able to drop your comments in the comment section below. And just in case you have something that you'd like to see, you could even still drop the comments even after this, and we'll be able to bring them out in the next edition. But like already said, this is where we get to wrap it up and close it off for this morning, the Friday edition of the ICU TV Breakfast Show. You are watching us live from here, your ICU TV studios in Chalala off Shantumba Road. For now, this is where we get to say bye-bye till next time.